Is it sexist to criticise the Chancellor given her appalling performance in regard to running the economy? Well, Ian says no, it's not sexist. However, he said that phrases like Rachel from accounts are misogynistic and demeaning and are unacceptable. Today's Dolan's dispatch is about the fact that we're going to have policies on Wednesday which basically send a message which is it does not pay to work. This from Erois, who says, Mark, I don't understand why working people have to pay more taxes in order to increase benefit payments. Why can't the welfare dependent take a similar cut to income as well as working people? A good point that I'll be tapping into at 9 a.m. for Dolan's dispatch. But what about this Angela Rayner now? The ginger growler herself is laying the groundwork for a leadership challenge against Sir Keir Starmer, the former Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Secretary, is offering cabinet posts, we're told, according to The Telegraph, to MPs in exchange for their support. It looks like the unions are behind her as well. Is the ginger growler heading for number 10? Let's get the views of Dr Lisa Mackenzie, who is a broadcaster and academic. Good morning, Lisa. Lovely to see you again.
Good morning, Mark. It's always lovely to see you.
She's very popular within Labour ranks, isn't she? She could do quite well in a leadership election because she is seen as a sort of true woman of the people. Is that the real Angela Rayner?
Well, Angela Rayner is, you're right, Angela Rayner is very popular amongst the Labour Party and amongst what I suppose is left of that sort of old Labour group. You know, the old Labour group that, you know, perhaps liked Gordon Brown. You know, they're interested in fairness. So they do like Angela Rayner. They think that she's she's a woman of the people. That's not my view of her. What I know of Angela Rayner on the outside of the Labour Party is she's not liked at all. And she's particularly not liked in her Ashton-under-Lyme constituency. And that's because she's never there. And one of the things that really annoyed them was when she bought the flat in Hove, because she said that that was her main home. So if you're going to annoy, and I'll tell you now, if you're up in the north, if you're going to annoy anybody and your constituencies, is by telling them that you're not going to live in there where they live and you're actually going to live in the south of England. That's enough to drive any northerner insane. So, you know, what she did was really out of order. Buying that £800,000 flat, saying it was going to be her main residence. And so the people up in the north in her constituency said, well, what about us? So there's another article that came out, I think yesterday, that Dan Hodges has wrote. You know, Dan Hodges is usually quite on the money, actually, when he talks about Parliament. Yeah. Where what Dan Hodges is saying is that perhaps her buying this apartment in Hove was purposeful, and perhaps she's going to stand in that constituency in order to have a much safer seat. Because if you look at the recent polling, Reform takes the whole of that part of Greater Manchester.
And Lisa, briefly, if you can, she's not quite the working class hero she's cracked up to be, or at least she's certainly sort of departed that world and her roots.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that Angela Rayner comes from a working class family, comes from a working class background, very similar to my own. However, since she's been in Parliament, you know, she's done a 360. She wants the expensive houses. She doesn't want to live where her constituents live. Yeah. She's gone to Glyndebourne. She's been taking free clothes. Yeah. This is all the stuff that working class people don't like, actually. And so what I'd say with Angela Rayner is I think she kind of got a taste of this, realised there was a lot of stuff for her personally, and she's gone down that route. I've always said she's there for the free stuff.
I think you're absolutely right. Lisa, lovely to see you again. We must get you back on the show in the immediate future. Academic and broadcaster, the wonderful Dr Lisa Mackenzie.